Welcome to Careless Coder. Today we will have a look at this thing, the SIDECART for the ATARI ST. Motherfucker! So this is the SIDECART. It's invented by a guy in Spain, and basically what it does is the same as the Ultimate 2 3.11 release. It allows you to download images from the internet wirelessly by using a PicoW that we still need to provide ourselves, and then run them. It can also simulate cartridges. Now, cartridges on the ATARI ST were a bit weird because for some reason they only reserved 128K space for a cartridge, and an average game was already around a meg. So not a lot of cartridges are out there for the ATARI ST. So let's get a PicoW, put it on there and flash it and see what happens.
So we first need to solder the headers to our Pico board. My Picos came from the Kiwi Electronics. It's a local dealership here in the Netherlands. Fair prices, quick delivery. I really like them. So let's empty the contents of my Coke baggie with the headers in there and put them in. These are color-coded headers, a bit more expensive, but the other ones ran out. So I figured, let's buy these. I want this project on the way. I put them in here so I can solder the PicoW. It's the wireless version that you need on there without problems and straight. This already comes with feed. I think the WH means with header. Alright then, that is easy. Here we go, stick it in there.
Ta-da!
I wish that all my projects went this easy. So now we upload the firmware, hold the boot cell, press in the USB cord, and then it will mount a folder on your computer. Then we download this firmware. We're going to use the beta version. It has some new features in there. So 14, yeah. And then we just copy it over to that mounted folder, the RPI RP2 folder. And it will copy and then automatically dismount. Takes a bit, but patience, there we go. And under Murdoch's watchful eye, we just stick it in there. Ooh, your slot is tight, baby. Yeah, let me wiggle it a little. Yeah, and I'm in. All right. Thanks, Murdoch. You're always a help. And let's turn it on and have a look at the screen. We press left shift to get in there. All right, and then we need to first configure our Wi-Fi. So we press W, and then we select our access point, and then we enter the password. Now, I don't want you guys to upload all sorts of weird shit on my network. Since this is clear text, I will cut away and come back when it's filled in. I am a guy, so I didn't read the fucking manual. So on the SD card that I put in there off camera, I forgot to create the ROMs and the floppies folder. So let's do that first. Create a ROMs and a floppies folder on the SD card and stick it back in. So now let's try and download a floppy. Let's press 5, Wi-Fi connection, no Wi-Fi connection found. We have to wait for the IP address to update over there. Yeah, so it should now work. 5. Yeah, and let's press S because I want to play Stone Age. And I'm scrolling down, couldn't find it, so I ended up on Shadow Dancer. I have no idea what it is, but it sounds interesting. Now I am worried though that I have my Ultra Satan attached and it downloads a driver into memory, and maybe that will conflict. So let's see. So it has that image now downloaded from the SD. It will start it and let's wait. Okay, yeah, that's my Ultra Satan. I have one version that allows me to actually boot into A, so I press 4 here and let it then start, and look at that. I couldn't have selected a better game. Look at her. Whoa, baby. Hooters, yeah. So let's continue. I got some explanation here. Let's boot. And this went on for about a minute. I sped it up over here. and usually this isn't good on an ST. So I waited a bit longer just to be sure, and then I saw the infamous bombs. No, let's detach the Ultra Satan and try again. So to pick another image, you press the select for a second and then you turn off and on your Atari again, and it will boot again with the option to press left shift. So I pressed left shift, I'm back in the menu and I'm going to find Speedball 2. Everybody likes Speedball 2. Everybody loves the Bitmap brothers after all. So after downloading it took about a minute and we get to this screen. So it seemed to work without the Ultra Satan driver, no explosive bombs anymore. And then it got stuck on the loading game screen. And I wondered, is there something wrong with my STE? Does this only work on the STE-FM? So I picked up the STE-FM after I had it sit here for like 5 minutes and it didn't load. And I had the same problem on my STE-FM. And then I wondered, maybe it's because they're using different floppies. Most games come on several floppies. So I started the Xenon 2 because I used to own that on floppy and I know where the floppy changes are. So I figured, let's see what happens. So we downloaded it perfectly, it started nicely. Look at that, yeah, it starts perfectly. And then we select player and then we have the next disk load. And yup, that's where it gets stuck. So you can only basically download single disc games, it seems. And this is what Murdoch finds about that. He's taking a dump on it. So I figured, let's start a Xenon. Xenon came on a single disc and also a great game by the Bitmap brothers. But this isn't Xenon, this is Fire Blast. And that is a recurring theme in this database. A lot of the games that you start aren't the games that they're mentioned. Arkanoid comes on a single disc, it boots nicely, but it's Stonebreaker. Stonebreaker isn't Arkanoid. It is similar to Arkanoid, but it's not Arkanoid. And that is really frustrating. They really need to get this sorted. Currently not really useful now. And this is what Murdoch thinks about that.
So the SIDECART, what is the final verdict? It's a great idea, in theory. The execution is poor at best. And I think the main issue is multi-disc images. About 50% of the games that come from their database, it's their database, don't seem to work on here. They seem to get stuck after the loading screen, like Speedball 2 did. I figured maybe it is the STE, because this one I really got in a couple of days ago. So I picked up my old STFM, which I know is really solid. They ran into the same problem. And then I started Xenon and I knew where the disk changes were in Xenon, which with these hacks and merges, it's not really clear. And there I was stuck in waiting for the next floppy. And that is how this works. It downloads a floppy image on the SD card, but when those floppies aren't merged, you're going nowhere. And that is what Pieter Putnik did with his driver for the Ultra Satan. He made a massive collection of 1600 games and merged them all together. So if you are in the market for easy way of gaming, don't go for the SIDECART yet. Although the cartridge emulation works, but a cartridge is only 128K, so what value does it have? But if you want to play games easy, just get yourself an Ultra Satan and Pieter Putnik's great libraries, and that will just work. It always works. And that is also something that with this thing you need to unplug your Ultra Satan. If that driver is loaded on boot, then 90% doesn't work. So you go from 50 to 90% failure rate, which is bad. I really wanted this to succeed. I really love the whole thing with the Assembly 64. Well, currently we're not there yet.
which could happen in the future, but I don't know how hard it's going to be. I think they will need to do the same that Peter Putnik did, merge all those images together, and it's not going to be easy to simulate that. So currently I say a no-go. I don't want to do this, but more like this. I really want this to succeed, but currently we're not there yet. So I hope you learned something, and see you in the next one. I'm going to play some Xenon from my Ultra Satan, at least there it works.